I'm in Perth. The sun is shining, but where I am, there is a kindergarten. So it's super noisy outside, so I'm filming inside. I did attempt to film outside, and it didn't really work. I flew over here from Melbourne, and it was awesome, thanks Virgin. I paid for my ticket, but I figured once we get to like 1,000 views, Virgin will then just jump in and hook me up for future trips. Just a quick one today on something that I've observed happening quite a bit and sort of discussions and the direction that a lot of discussions are going, around mental health and looking after people that are around you and reaching out to people who are having a tough time and things like that. And I just wanted to sort of address that there's a lot of emphasis at the moment on telling people that it's all right to be upset, which it is. It absolutely is. And it's totally normal. Life is a combination of good times and bad times and happiness and sadness, and we kind of do that all the time anyway. I just think it's really important that we don't shut the door on the conversation once we say it's okay if you're upset. If you need anything, come and get me. Because we're putting the emphasis then on people who are at their most vulnerable, people who are suffering, people who are having a tough time, people who feel a bit lost or unsure, or they feel like they're being left alone, or they don't feel that connection, regardless of kind of what people are saying all the time. I'm not sure that people are jumping on Facebook in those moments and looking for a cut and pasted sentence that says, hey, if you're having a bad day, give me a call. What we need to do as a community of people that care, or as friends or family or loved ones that care about a particular person, is we need to step up and take responsibility for that ourselves and start paying attention to the people that we care about in a way that allows us to identify changes, identify that they may be having a tough time, identify causes, identify these issues that they might be having without them having to tell us, because at the time when people are their most vulnerable, often that's when they're least likely to reach out anyway. And I think that's why we end up with so many retrospective stories about the tough time that people had and how they got through it, rather than people reaching out and saying, I'm having a tough time. So rather than tell people it's okay if you're upset, come talk to me when you're upset, we need to just live that it's okay to be upset and engage with people who are having a tough time. We need to pay attention to them all the time. We need to pay attention to our friends and the people that are close to us so that we can identify any changes and then maybe step in. And then as a community of people, it's not about what you're saying or what you're writing on Facebook. It's not about all the things you're telling everybody you want to do or that you would do. It's about just reaching out, making those phone calls yourself, doing more than just liking a post, making that phone call, touching base, taking someone out for a coffee, going and physically being in the presence of somebody, jumping in and doing something that makes their life a little bit easier, look after the kids, make them a meal, buy them a coffee, take them out somewhere, do something, go and sit with them and just watch telly, whatever it is. You should know these people well enough to know what they might need and at least start to work in that direction. So rather than put the emphasis on people who are at the highest risk and the most vulnerable stepping up and putting their hand up and saying, hey, I'm having this tough time, we should be putting the emphasis on communities around those people and people who are friends with these people and people who are families of these people stepping up and saying, look, if I care, I don't need to put something on Facebook because I'll actually be checking in with you anyway. So yeah, my thoughts today were really just about people stepping up and looking after each other rather than saying, come to me when you need help. So if someone's having a tough time, the people close to them are the ones best placed to recognise that, the ones best placed to step up and do something about it, or at least attempt to do something about it, and the ones that are best placed to reach out, check in with people and ask if they're okay. Take responsibility as someone who's in a good headspace to look after the people who are in a poor headspace, rather than putting the onus on the guys who are in a poor headspace to step up and seek out people who are in a good space to help them. It is totally fine to be in a bad headspace. It is absolutely fine to be having a tough time. We all have them. But putting the onus on people who are in those situations to stand up and ask for help, it's a bit like saying, listen, if you've been in a car accident, just crawl your way to the hospital and we'll sort you out. At some point, someone needs to recognise this person's been in a car accident, call for help, if they're not equipped to give it, and they need to be taken to the hospital and taken care of. Well, if you recognise someone's having a tough time and it's beyond your scope to deal with it, perhaps you need to step up and find a way to get them engaged in a service that will help. But if there is something that you can do, maybe you just need to step up and do that yourself And in doing that, you're really showing people that, hey, it's totally fine to not be all right. It's so fine to not be okay that I don't care and I'm going to step up and help you anyway. So I think that really matters. And if everyone did that, I think we find a lot more happy people, which is great. I mean, your options are step up and help your friends, and then you feel great, and then they feel great, and then you get to do cool stuff, and you get to dance and have a good time, or sit around and wonder why the people who are close to you go AWOL or disappear and just say, well, you know, I told them the whole time that they could call me if something was up. I mean, we all like it when someone reaches out, makes an effort, puts in real person, face-to-face time with each other. Take a bit of responsibility for people who are doing it tough. Let them know that it's really okay by stepping up and taking action yourself without being asked or without waiting, and be proactive. As a community of human beings, we should be proactive in looking after other human beings. And we shouldn't put the emphasis on the people that are having the toughest time, the most vulnerable people, being the ones that have to go out and organise their own help. Whatever it is, we can step up and help. I think that would be a huge win. It's what it's all about. You want your friends to be in a good headspace. We want people to be having a good time. We want to be dancing in the kitchen. We want to be laughing and smiling and dancing in the kitchen, and, you know, taking terrible photos and having a laugh and doing all these wonderful things. That's what it's all about. Let's get everybody up and about by getting in behind them and looking after them and taking a bit of responsibility ourselves. It's super important. You matter. I care. Keep on just being nice. Now I'm going to go outside and enjoy some of this sun.